Bob Nightengale joining us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Bob, how's it going?
Yeah, doing good, Stacey. Hey, Michael.
We're happy to have you, and we're happy to be talking about a Mariners team that's in first place. That being said, it's May 9th, and Bob, I know there are not a lot of believers, which is completely fair, especially for a team with so many question marks entering the season. Is there anything they're doing as a team that has at least piqued your interest and made you wonder if they could, make a push for the playoffs?
Yeah, certainly that starting pitching for sure. To do that without Logan Gilbert and George Kirby, that's stunning. You say, okay, can these guys stay healthy again? They're not, but they're still winning. So that the offense is, nobody saw that coming. Where the offense is, bigger and better than ever. I mean, we haven't seen offense like this in a number of years out of Seattle.
Going into the season, that rotation was thought of to be one of the best, if not the best, in MLB. So as it stands right now, how does it compare to the rest of the league?
Right there with anybody, in the league. With these guys being hurt and Gilbert and Kirby, is that when they come back, they should be fresh arms, less innings, everything else. So that's why nobody's wanted to see the Mariners in the playoffs last year, just because that rotation's so good. It's easy to, carry a team like that all the way to the World Series.
Hey, we spoke with Buster Olney a little earlier last week, and he said he couldn't remember a time when there had been such a disparity between play in the National League and in the American League. Can you remember a time where it felt like the leagues were this different, where, you get your top 5 teams might all be NL teams?
Yeah, certainly. It used to be the other way around, where the American League was so much stronger than the National League. But, yeah, I agree. For instance, American League East, I can never remember it being this weak. It's always been, so powerful. And now it's like, hey, just, there's some nice teams in there, but no juggernauts. But, yeah, I think if you say, okay, who's the 10 best teams in baseball, I bet you say 8 of them are coming from the National League.
The Mariners, they're an interesting team in a sense that we're trying to figure out when to buy some serious stock in them, Bob. And we started our show asking our listeners, like, are you in, are you out? And 85% of them said, yeah, I'm definitely in with this team. Is there something that you still need to see for you to be in on this team? Is it time? Is it a performance from a certain player, a stat? Like, what are you waiting for if you're not completely bought in yet?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in on them. You look at that division too. I mean, there's no Dodgers or Padres in that division. Texas kind of replaced what switched narratives. Texas can pitch now, and they can't hit. Houston's been up and down. So no, athletics, I think they'll fade over time. Just they don't have that kind of depth. So no, I think they have as good chance as anybody. And, what we talked about before, with the American League being down, you make the playoffs, you have as good a chance as anybody to get to the World Series.
If we are kind of picking apart the roster a little bit, is there a particular Mariner that you've been especially impressed by? And then conversely, Bob, is there anyone, I'm guessing maybe Julio might be one of them, that you're kind of waiting to see a little more from?
Yeah, it's only Polanco. I mean, the fact is they, non-tendered him, didn't give him the $12 million option. He's a free agent. Anybody in baseball could have had the guy. They finally said, okay, we'll take you back in February for just $7 million. And then for him to be playing, like a top 5 MVP candidate, that's stunning. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Raleigh's, of course, showing he's one of the best all-around catchers in all of baseball, particularly with the home runs he has this year. Crawford's been fantastic in the infield. And, you keep waiting for Julio Rodriguez to step up, and that's another encouraging sign. It's like, hey, they're doing this without Rodriguez getting hot. So, kudos to Kevin Seitz, the new hitting coach, and people before him, because the Mariners were talking all spring long, like, okay, we're taking carry over for what we did last September, and they've been right.
Hey, what do you think about the bottom of the order, like the Ben Williamson, Rivas, throw him in there. You have Leody. I mean, we've seen some names, and with this team especially, I think obviously in all of baseball you need your 1 through 9 to kind of do their thing. But I think it's a lot of pressure on these dudes towards the bottom to really contribute consistently. Do you think there's enough there for these guys to kind of hang around, or do you still need like the dominant performances by Cal and JP and Polanco and hopefully Julio soon?
Well, I think the bottom orders can carry their own. I mean, when you look around bottom orders, I mean, who's got a great one? Maybe the Diamondbacks do, but it's tough to find. I'll be fascinated to see Taveras. I think that's one of the more intriguing storylines going forward is, okay, here's a guy the Texas Rangers gave up on. They could not trade him. And here's the Mariners, I think, surprised everybody by picking him up. And certainly it shows that, okay, ownership more serious about winning you thought. Like, okay, they don't mind picking up $3.5 million. What happens at the trade deadline? But that's encouraging for, all Mariners fans. Okay, maybe ownership will step up and give Jerry Dipoto more money to play with.
Hey, Bob, when Julio first came onto the scene, I think it didn't take long for people to be kind of blown away by him. He especially captured national attention at, obviously, his very famous home run derby that he didn't even win, but he was the name that everyone was talking about after the fact. And I think since then, opinions have kind of split. It may not be 50-50, but I think a lot of people locally are wondering, like, well, can he be consistent? Is he as great a prospect as we were hoping he could be? Bob, you're obviously well connected with other national reporters, right? And you talk about this team from kind of a step back perspective. I'm wondering what those conversations are like about Julio now, if you think that they've evolved, kind of what the conversations are, I guess, if I were to be a fly on the wall that you're having with national guys about Julio.
Yeah, I think we tend to just blow up these prospects so big and just make them like, okay, this guy's going to be next Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, what have you. It doesn't work that way. I mean, probably the best young guy out there is Ellie De La Cruz, the Cincinnati Reds, and he's still been up and down. Churios has been okay with Milwaukee. In Pittsburgh, O'Neill Cruz has struggled. So it still takes time with young guys. Mm-hmm. That's why, Seattle native Corbin Carroll, with the Diamondbacks, that's an outlier for him to jump in and still playing this great at such a young age.
Is there a young name on this roster that you've seen that gets you excited? I mean, I've watched Emerson kind of turn the corner and get going. I talked about the bottom of the order. I've seen Ben Williamson have his moments as well. Is there a name that you've seen, a young name that you think has the opportunity to kind of be here for a while?
Yeah, I mean, nobody jumps out, but still such a young team in general. Still what fascinates you most is just that pitching. Whether it's a Wu, a Kirby, that sort of thing. To see these guys doing it, Logan Gilbert. That's why I think the Mariners are thinking, wait a minute now, we're only going to have these guys a few more years before they really start making the big money in free agency. But our window is now. Let's take advantage now before they get too expensive, and we can't keep them. We can't keep $200 million pitchers as free agents.
And the next two series at home here are against AL opponents, the Toronto Blue Jays and then the Yankees. I know that a lot of fans have their eyes set on that Yankees series, even though it's very early to kind of see how the Mariners stack up. But, Bob, hoping for a little bit of a preview from you with both of these teams. What have you seen so far from Toronto? What's standing out, and what's standing out about New York?
Well, the Blue Jays are just, kind of mediocre. I mean, they got Vlad Guerrero, George Springer is playing very well. They're pitching, but they just take two steps forward and then fall right back. It'd be interesting to see how many Blue Jays fans will be in attendance, because usually it's always Blue Jay fans. Maybe it'll be switching allegiance to the Mariners. But the Mariners should take 2 or 3 games. Then when the Yankees come in town, it's a real good test. They're facing the best pitcher in the American League right now is Snell. Max Fried. So Max Fried should pitch in that series, and they're a solid team. They're not a great team. I think that that series against the Yankees will be fascinating. I think they'll be very curious too, just to say, okay, where do we stand up? Where do we stand here? Right. If we can beat up the Yankees, we can beat up anybody in the American League. Right now, the best team in the American League might be the Detroit Tigers the way they're playing. Nobody saw that coming.
Well, what do you think about the Mariners bullpen? There have been some names that popped up, done their thing. Disappointed that Santos started off rough and has been sent down, or is he injured? We've seen Vargas, Brash is back. There's just I feel like there's some momentum starting over there. Spire has done his thing as well. Just your thoughts on the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is a closer. When you got, is doing his thing, it goes from there. If you don't have a closer you can trust, and then it just, wipes out the entire bullpen. Everybody's in different roles that they don't want to be. Everybody's uncomfortable. So it starts with him and goes back. So no, they've held their own. They've been very steady. There's only probably 4 or 5 elite bullpen closers in baseball right now, and the Mariners certainly have one.
Hey, what's been your early impression, and I know that impression started late last year, of Dan Wilson?
Yeah, when he came in, it just it was like a breath of fresh air. It happens a lot when you change managers. It's a different voice, everything else. I think it helps too the fact he was such a influential figure in Mariners history with his playing career, and it's carried over. I think you just kind of try to simplify things, not worry about analytics and numbers, and just playing your game. I think it's why the Texas Rangers hired Brett Boone to be their hitting coach. It's like, hey, let's just go away. Let's go back to old school and just trust how you feel and things like that, and don't get bogged down with numbers. And I think that's why Dan Wilson's been so successful there, and they've certainly embraced him.
Are you seeing that as a common thread? I noticed the other day you tweeted about Juan Soto, talking about his transition to the Mets and how important Carlos Mendoza was for that. Granted, that wasn't necessarily Carlos Mendoza simplifying things. I don't know what that was, but I've been wondering about the relationship between manager and players and how impactful a manager can be. Do you find that around the league, maybe simplifying things is one thing good managers have done well?
Yeah, and I just think they say, hey, I used to play too. Obviously it's got service play as well, but just some different voice in their head. Let's not worry about what the computers are saying and everything else. Let's go old school here. And I know that's what Texas is doing there, and different teams are taking an approach. Look at the San Francisco Giants. They got rid of their analytic guy as their GM. Farhan Zaidi hired Buster Posey, who was of course a future Hall of Fame catcher with the Giants. And they've certainly warmed up to him, even though he's on the dugout every day or in the clubhouse every day. They're playing a whole lot better baseball than they had the last few years, I think, by just simplifying things.
Do you feel like is there something you've seen in baseball that you feel like, oh, it's messing up the game? Because I do this segment called "Get Off My Lawn," and Bob is when I turn into just a grumpy old man and I just complain about stuff in sports or in life. Is there anything that you've seen in baseball over the last 10 years that you feel like, all right, the game can probably do without that?
Some things change. I think sometimes we get caught up in forgetting how the rules change. Like last year, for instance, talking about Ohtani, hey, is this the greatest season ever? No, it's not. But remember, it's so much easier to steal bases now. With only 2 pickoff moves, I think they should have a few more than that. It's like everybody can steal bases now. If they guys like Ricky Henderson playing, he's probably still 150, 200 bases a year, that sort of thing. So I think the history gets messed up. And same thing with the extra innings. I wish they started the runner on second base, starting in the 12th inning and not right away. That sort of thing.
Really good point about the stolen bases. I like that, Bob. USA Today's Bob Nightengale, kind enough to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Sir, my pleasure. Take care.
Have a good one.